Tonight, a busy weekend for Broken Hill Police after a number of brawls break out. And Wales home of footy set for a multi-million-dollar upgrade in a bid to bring AFL back to the city.
From our 7 Spencer Golf studios, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. A man is facing a number of charges after an alleged assault at a Broken Hill nightclub. A security guard received serious injuries to his face after he was allegedly assaulted numerous times.
A busy night for Broken Hill Police. Just before midnight on Saturday, a 23-year-old man was with his friends at the Night Train nightclub on Argent Street. A security guard has allegedly then asked one of his friends to leave the premises because he was too intoxicated.
As he was escorting that fellow out, the 23-year-old man didn't like it and started to get a bit argumentative with the security. The
23-year-old man then allegedly punched the security guard in the head 2 times, causing a cut over his eye. Extra security intervened and escorted the man and 2 others out of the club. Police arrived shortly after and spotted the 23-year-old walking down the main street.
He decided to run, so we chased after him for a little bit, eventually caught him, arrested him, and he's been charged with assault, occasioning actual bodily harm, as well as offensive behaviour.
On the back of this incident, police say if you are asked to leave a licensed premises, whether it be from staff, security or police, you must comply.
Initially, it's usually up to the staff and security to tell you to leave, and if you don't, it's $550 fine on the spot.
One of those fines was handed out on Friday night after a man tried to enter a pub on Oxide Street. The man was banned from the business last September and was refused entry by the licensee. The man reportedly refused to leave the area and tried to fight other patrons entering. Police arrived and slapped him with the fine. He left the area immediately. Patrick Ryanke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Whyalla Steelworks owner Sanjeev Gupta has committed to paying contractors on time and getting the steelworks back into profit. It comes after revelations GFG had not paid a number of Whyalla contractors on time. Speaking with the media after signing a multi-million-dollar sponsorship deal with the Port Adelaide Football Club, he's confirmed contractors will get paid. South Australian Senator Rex Patrick says he hopes this situation is just a one-off.
The people that I've been talking to have now been paid. We want Sanjeev Gupta to succeed. We're hoping that this is just a hiccup.
Mr Gupta also told the Advertiser losses at the steelworks have plateaued and he's confident it'll break even by June. Meanwhile, it's been reported some of Mr Gupta's UK companies haven't released their accounts to authorities on time. Meanwhile, Whyalla Football's home ground will undergo major renovations on the back of Sanjeev Gupta's sponsorship. Council is spending $2.8 million on Bennett Oval as it aims to host an AFL pre-season game next year.
They sing they have the power to win, and now Port Adelaide have the power of Gupta behind them. He'll sponsor the club for the next 5 years in a multi-million-dollar deal. It's also had a flow-on effect for Whyalla, with council to revamp the local league's main venue.
Bring it up to a spec that we feel will really benefit the community.
$2.8 million will be spent. The grandstand will be recladded, along with new seating, roofing and standing areas. Change rooms will be brought up to AFL standard, while new canteen and bar facilities will be constructed. And the turf, which had issues last year, will also be relaid.
We'll last this community a long time into the future, but we'll give it a facility that it should have had many, many years ago.
Bennett Oval's grandstand was built in the 1960s. Port Lincoln, Port Augusta and Port Perry have recently updated their venues and have secured JLT Cup matches. With a Whyalla company now behind an AFL club, Mr Cowley says we also deserve some of that action.
Pre-season game in 2020 would be a fabulous outcome, and I'm sure our community will be fully behind it.
The plans will soon be released for public consultation. Council will also be seeking grants and will approach businesses for support, including GFG.
We will be requesting some support.
John Hunt, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Whyalla aged care facility has been sanctioned for failing to meet government standards. Cobb House Court was found in breach after a Commonwealth investigation found a severe risk to health and safety of patients. They failed to meet the standard required in pain, continence and behavioural management. The findings mean they'll not be able to receive federal funding for 6 months, while they've also been ordered to take on a nurse advisor. Staff will also undergo additional training. The Australian Greens has released its draft terms of reference for a federal royal commission into the Murray-Darling Basin. Among the terms, calls for inquiries into alleged mismanagement of the system.
It's time to get to the bottom of it all.
Well, this week, as Parliament resumes, I'll be introducing legislation into the Senate to establish a royal commission.
Sarah Hanson-Young was one of the many politicians to visit the region when the Menindee fish kills happened. She is now pushing for a federal royal commission to be established so those responsible for the current state of the Darling River have nowhere to hide.
What this royal commission will do is force state and federal bureaucrats to front the commission to give the information to show where the water is and how much money has been spent and where the money has gone.
In the terms of reference from the Greens, it is requested the commission must inquire and advise Parliament on a number of basin matters. They include any misconduct relating to the management of water resources, the impact the implementation of the basin plan has had on the environment, agriculture and nearby communities, and the allocation of funds by the Commonwealth and basin states to implement the plan. The full terms can be found on the Greens website.
Every Australian should be concerned that $13 billion has been put on the table and yet our river is dying and the environment is in collapse.
Patrick Ryanke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Anti-abortion activists conducted a meeting at Wallaroo Town Hall on the weekend to protest the Greens' proposed amendments to the state's abortion laws. Under the proposed changes, women in regional areas will have better access to facilities.
Pro-life or pro-choice, two phrases we've grown accustomed to hearing through the American media. And now the topic of contention is again being debated here. The problem, newly proposed amendments to the SA abortion laws by the state Greens.
It treats abortion as a health matter. Now that means that it's decriminalised, but it certainly doesn't mean that it's deregulated.
Pro-life groups met at the Wallaroo Town Hall to discuss the legislation. All present were concerned over the idea of allowing abortion in the third trimester and even up till birth.
We want to share with people the information that we know about the bill and also to tell them that there is no disposable people.
One facet would have to be the creation of a 150-metre square perimeter around the state's pregnancy advisory centres, stopping protests outside facilities.
We'll put a zoning around the Pregnancy Advisory Centre, which is South Australia's abortion clinic.
The Greens say it'll be for the benefit of patients.
It will be certainly a sign that we consider abortion to be a health matter and a personal matter rather than something to be the site of public protest.
Better access to facilities and support for regional women is something the Greens are hoping to push through.
Some country centres are doing well just to have a GP. The GP isn't in a position where they can prescribe U486. They should be able to.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come in our bulletin tonight, another cruise ship welcomed in Port Lincoln, and we'll meet the Greens candidate who's running against Rowan Ramsey at this year's federal election. Welcome back. Port Lincoln was buzzing yesterday as the 5th cruise ship set anchor in the port's harbour. The town welcomed visitors by showcasing local artists in a market set up in the Arts Centre.
Colourful, vibrant and one of a kind. That's what was on display at the Port Lincoln markets yesterday. The pop-up shops showcasing some of the town's most creative and unique.
And the amount of artwork, musicians, writers, it's amazing, this town. It's amazing.
Artwork was held at the Nautilus Arts Centre, the first year it's held the markets. Visitors say it's a great opportunity to meet the talented people.
Wonderful to see all the different designs and different genres as well.
Well, it's not just the visitors loving today's markets, but even the locals too. From handcrafted jewellery to woven hats, there's something for everyone.
I've bought a couple of earrings and some necklaces today, so which has been lovely.
Visitors were invited to watch the artists at work, but you may need to stand back.
demonstrating making glass beads. Glass I use melts at about 1,000 degrees and it goes like honey.
The market's showcasing that Port Lincoln is much more than a seafood paradise, but also an artistic hive. With 6 more cruise ships to come, we're officially halfway through the season. And with 17,000 people expecting to drop anchor here on the 20th, it looks like it will be a crowded end to the season. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And to politics now, with the federal election just months away, Candice Champion has thrown her name in the mix as a Greens candidate for the seat of Grey. The Port Augusta local hopes to be the voice for a number of issues affecting regional South Australia.
A new option at the ballots.
I'm pretty excited, very nervous, but very keen.
32-year-old Candice Champion is hopeful her youth and heritage as an Indigenous woman will add some diversity to the political landscape.
Anybody willing to help out and lend a helping hand, I think, is valuable.
The Greens candidate has grown up in Port Augusta and is passionate about a number of local matters. Discussion around the nuclear waste dump, renewable energies and Aboriginal issues are just some of her topics for advocacy.
Not a lot of actual representation from those people who are actually living those stories and in those situations and moments.
She will contest the seat of Grey and will be up against current Liberal member Rowan Ramsey. She's one of only a handful of Indigenous leaders campaigning for election in South Australia and wants to see stronger representation at the federal level.
It would allow us to advocate for ourselves rather than to be advocated for.
Candice will launch her campaign this Saturday night at the Central Augusta Football Club and hopes for a strong local presence.
I'm just hoping that people just come down, check it out, have a look for themselves. I'll be doing a bit of a spill, but it's very informal.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Whyalla Police is searching for those responsible for stealing 2 motorised scooters last week. A silver 2007 Bug scooter was stolen on Thursday the 7th of February from a house on Milsom Street. That same night, a grey 2008 Yamaha was stolen from a Jenkins Avenue property. Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers. Researchers at Flinders University have found significant populations of dolphins and whales along the eastern Great Australian Bight. A large-scale survey highlighted the importance of the region's marine biodiversity.
This particular common dolphins, it seems to be a stronghold here in Australia, so it is an area that we should be watching out in terms of impacts from human activities.
Over 100 scientists took part in the research project, hoping to gain better understanding of the environmental, economic and social values of the region. Rotary's Youth Exchange program can be the experience of a lifetime for many, visiting new countries, cultures and meeting new people. But the Port Augusta Rotary Club says without more local hosts, students may not get the opportunity.
8 years ago, Port Augusta local Leah Rasmus packed her bags and embarked on the trip of a lifetime. As an 18-year-old, she became involved in the Rotary Youth Exchange program and flew into Denmark to study abroad for a year.
During this time, I attended the local high school and stayed with 3 different host families.
She says the experience was like no other.
You get to experience another culture and learn another language,
as well as live with a host family from another country.
They're basically there to help you through the good and the bad times, and you gain such a close connection to the family.
But the process for exchange is a one-for-one basis, meaning people must be able to host an overseas student in the Upper Spencer Gulf to allow local students to get the same valuable international experience. The local Rotary Club says the lack of hosts in the area has grounded many young travellers.
If we don't have host families here for an incoming student, we can't send our students out.
They're hoping to see more families put their hand up for the duties, so that students can too study all over the world.
It just widens their horizons for the rest of their life, amazingly.
For more information, visit the Rotary Youth Exchange website. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll check in with all the cricket results from across the region, and Britt will join us with all the weather details. Welcome back. To local cricket now, and Solomon Town North have managed to take out second place on the Port Pirie ladder after an impressive display against Proprietary over the weekend. Dominic Beaton joins me now from Globe Oval. Now Dom, round 14 marked a significant milestone for one of the players.
That's right, Louise. A special congratulations to Solly North's A-grader Oliver Cosme for reaching his 1000th run for the club. Solly North are asserting their dominance from the get-go with 3 out for 10. Props batsman Peter Besson tried but was taken out for 15. Benjamin Brown proved to be lethal with the ball, taking 4 wickets. Oliver Cosme carried Solly North to victory with an impressive half a century not out. At Port Oval it was top versus bottom. Wandera cruised to a 106 win over Southport, a disappointing season for the Pirates. With finals just around the corner, Wandera are sitting comfortably at the top. In Port Augusta, South stays on top after an easy 120-run win over Central, while West had an easy win over Corn. And a special congratulations to West Augusta Cricket Club's B grade for taking out a minor premiership. In Lincoln, South put up an impressive fight against the Waybacks with Craig Reedy hitting 51. Wayback fought their way back with Buddle Campbell and Newman batting the side to victory. Southern Air brought their A game at Centenary Oval and Tasman were too strong for Todd River. Heading north to Broken Hill and a clinical win for the Roo Boys, who didn't take a backward step all day with a win over Central, and North were too good for West. In Whyalla, Centrals thumped South while North eased to a win over Rapina. It's going to be an exciting time for cricket in Port Pirie and Port Augusta, with both leagues moving closer to finals. A special mention to Port Pirie's Memorial Oval, which will remain off limits until after the JLT showdown. The AFL is being extra cautious about the surface quality. And that's a wrap for local cricket from across the regions.
Now for a look ahead to this week's weather forecast, here's Britt Aylen.
Thanks, Louise. It's been a sunny day across most parts. Port Augusta with a top of 33 today, Whyalla 30, Port Lincoln 26, Broken Hill 33 and Port Pirie 30. Looking to the sky, and a high pressure ridge weakened above South Australia today, with a cold front approaching coastal waters from the west. Tomorrow that front will extend across the coast. On the waters, westerly winds at up to 30 knots with swells to 2 metres, and sunrise is due at 10 to 7 with sunset at 8:17. Port Augusta, partly cloudy tomorrow with a top of 27, Whyalla cloudy and 24, partly cloudy at Port Lincoln 22 the top, a windy day at Coffin Bay with showers expected 16 degrees, Woodner cloudy and 22, Corn 27, Broken Hill windy tomorrow 32 degrees, cloudy at Port Pirie with a top of 24, Clare showers and 19, Cleve 21, Kadina showers and 23. Looking ahead through the week now, Port Lincoln looking partly cloudy, Wednesday 22, Thursday 25. Cleve fine through till Friday. Woodner partly cloudy on Wednesday, a top of 24, Thursday sunny and 29. Whyalla fine and 23 on Wednesday, Thursday 25. Port Augusta partly cloudy on Wednesday 25 degrees, Thursday sunny and 29. And a fine few days ahead for Kadina. Port Pirie mostly sunny on Wednesday 24, 28 the top on Thursday. Clare a top of 20 on Wednesday, Thursday 25. And Broken Hill sunny through the week, 25 on Wednesday, Thursday 28. And it looks like a bit of a mixed bag tomorrow, Louise. Best to be prepared for all seasons.
Good advice, Britt. Thanks for that. And that's your local news this Monday evening. We hope you have a nice night. We'll see you later on with updates.